Hi everyone, and welcome to Reading Test 1B. I'm going to go through and I'm going to read each passage. I'm going to read the questions. Please make sure that you are using the cue card that I gave you to get some extra hints for some of these words. After every question, the expectation is that you pause the video and that you go through and do your job by eliminating answers and going back in the passage to look for them. All right, let's get going. Our first passage is The Age of Dirigibles by Lynn Hartzell. Please follow along either with your finger or a pencil. The sleek, silvery, cigar-shaped airship, longer than 2 football fields, was on one of her many cross-country flights to demonstrate the airworthiness of dirigibles. This cruise covered more than 9,000 miles around the U.S. and gave millions of people their first look at such an airship. To many, the graceful Shenandoah, which cruised at 60 miles per hour, was a symbol of a new air age. Its future certainly looked better than that of the rickety winged airplanes that were also trying to set long-distance records. The development of the dirigible. In both Europe and the U.S., dirigible development continued. The U.S. Navy built the sister ships Akron and Macon, both 100 feet longer than the Shenandoah. Each carried 5 small scout planes, which took off and landed from a trapeze-like skyhook hanging from the dirigible. But dirigibles, whose inner frameworks makes them different from non-rigid gas-filled blimps, were plagued with bad luck. Shenandoah was destroyed in a thunderstorm in 1925. Akron crashed off the New Jersey coast in 1933. 73 persons were killed. Macon went down in a storm in the Pacific Ocean in 1935. But Germany, whose Zeppelin company was the world leader in dirigible manufacture, was determined to prove the airship safe and comfortable. The 100-foot-long Graf Zeppelin, built in 1930, had 10 luxurious private rooms, each with an observation window, a brightly decorated lounge, a formal dining room, and an all-electric kitchen. It carried a total of more than 13,000 passengers on trips to 4 continents before being retired in 1937. The German Hindenburg. The German dirigible Hindenburg was even more luxurious, with 25 private rooms and a dance floor with an aluminum piano. 4 1,100 horsepower diesel engines drove her along at 84 miles per hour. In 1936, the Hindenburg made 10 successful round trips between Germany and the U.S. The German airship was inflated with 7,300,000 cubic feet of highly flammable hydrogen gas. U.S. dirigibles had used the safer helium, which does not burn. But helium was more scarce and produced only in the U.S. The American government refused to sell it to other countries, especially Germany, because of the military ambition of the Nazi government. Then, on her first transatlantic trip of 1937, the Hindenburg met disaster. While landing at Lakehurst, New Jersey, the ship suddenly burst into flames. Incredibly, only 36 of the 97 persons aboard died in the blazing crash, but the name Hindenburg came to mean disaster in many minds. Whatever doubts people may have had beforehand about dirigibles, the Hindenburg disaster was final proof. The golden age of dirigibles was over. All right, on to our questions. Question number 1. The author's audience is most likely who? Is it A, journalists creating news stories, B, scientists who are interested in dirigible development, C, musicians and artists, or D, readers who are interested in the history of dirigibles? Please pause the video and read the hints on your cue card. All right, number 2. It says, click and drag each statement into the correct box. Distinguish each statement as a fact or opinion and place it in the correct box. The first column is for fact, the second column is for opinion. Remember, a fact is something that's true, and it doesn't matter who says it or thinks it, it's true the same for everybody. An opinion is something that might change from person to person. One person might think so, but the next person might not. Our two answer choices are, the first one says, its future certainly looked better than that of the rickety winged airplanes that were also trying to set long-distance records. The second one says, in both Europe and the United States, dirigible development continued. So each one of those has to go in one of the boxes. Question number 3. Click and drag the correct answer to the box. Complete the chart with the correct cause. So if I look at this chart, I see that I have a blank box under cause, and under effect it says dirigibles are no longer used. So I need to ask myself, what caused people to stop using the dirigibles? I've got 4 choices. First one says dirigibles are expensive to build and operate. Second one says dirigibles are slow and hard to steer. Third one says dirigibles are dangerous and may explode. Fourth one says dirigibles can only be built by Germans. Go back into the article and figure out which one of those things is the reason why people stopped flying them. All right, on to number 4. Number 4 says the gas used in German dirigibles was A, oxygen, B, hydrogen, C, plutonium, D, helium. We're looking for the German dirigibles. Please go back into the article and find the answer. Number 5, the introduction, which is those first 2 paragraphs, does what? A, it describes the last dirigible to be flown, like ever. B, it introduces the reader to the dirigible. C, it compares the dirigible to a jet plane. Or D, it identifies the dangers of dirigibles. Please pause the video and go back in the first 2 paragraphs and look. Make sure you're eliminating answers that are not correct. Number 6, the title of the article, The Age of Dirigibles, indicates that dirigibles are what? A says that they are rated by the number of the years they've been used. B, they're at least 100 years old. C, are used for mass transportation now. Or D, were used for a period of time and are no longer used. Remember that questions that ask about the title are often main idea questions. Think about which one of those answer choices best covers the whole article, because the title covers the whole article. Next up, the purpose of the essay is to do what? Is it A, to persuade readers to support dirigible use? Is it B, to inform readers of the history of dirigibles? Is it C, to refute historic support for dirigibles? Is it D, to compare dirigibles with other modes of transportation? I'm going to go through those one more time, so listen carefully. A says, persuade readers to support dirigible use. Persuade means to convince. So choice A is saying that the author wants to convince people to use dirigibles, like now. Choice B says, inform the readers of the history of dirigibles. So we're giving readers, this could be any readers, information about the history. C says, refute historic support for dirigibles. To refute something is to argue against it. So this would mean that we were arguing against the people that supported dirigibles back in the day, in the past. And D says, compare dirigibles with other modes of transportation. Other modes of transportation are things like planes and trains and cars. So if I'm comparing dirigibles with those, I should be seeing things that are the same, things that are different. Take a second, please pause the video, go back and see which one of those best matches the main idea. All right. What is the main idea of this essay? That's number 8. What is the main idea? Remember, a main idea covers the whole article, not just one paragraph. Is it A, dirigibles were used as transportation until many accidents showed them to be unsafe? B, the Hindenburg was a very luxurious dirigible. Luxurious means fancy. C, weather was the cause of all dirigible disasters. Or D, the dirigible Macon went down in a storm. Multiple answers might be true. Which one is the main idea of the whole essay? And number 9, which of the following text structures was not used in this selection? Look at your cue card for some examples of these things. A is italics, which is the slanty type. B is bold type. C is a title. D are subheadings. Pause the video, go back, mark them off as you find them. Remember, this is a not question. Which one was not used? Okay, that is the end of dirigibles. Go ahead and take a break, please. Give yourself a brain break. Get some water, stand up for a second, and then we'll get back to work.